BA. What if I told you that someone claims to have seen the future of America? Not through political analysis, not through polls or predictions, but through a divine vision that left him trembling with both fear and hope. This isn't about politics. This isn't about choosing sides. This is about something far deeper, a message that transcends political parties and speaks directly to the soul of a nation standing at a crossroads. In a small room, far from the noise of campaign rallies and media debates, a man of faith experienced something that would change his understanding of everything. What he saw wasn't just about who wins an election. It was about why it matters, what comes next, and what role each of us plays in the story that's unfolding right now. Before we dive into what was revealed, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't about predicting the future to feel secure. It's about understanding the spiritual battle being waged over our nation and our hearts. Because what this man witnessed goes far beyond ballot boxes and inauguration ceremonies. The vision that shook everything, it happened during a time of deep prayer and fasting. He wasn't seeking political insight, he was seeking God's heart for America. What came next was unexpected, overwhelming, and crystal clear. In the vision, he saw the election results before they happened. But more importantly, he saw the WHY behind them. You witnessed the spiritual forces at work, the prayers of millions rising like incense, and the divine hand moving through circumstances that seemed impossible. The vision showed him that the outcome wasn't random, it was purposeful. Part of a larger plan that most people couldn't see from their limited perspective. The identity revealed when he saw who would win, his first reaction wasn't celebration or despair, it was awe. Because alongside the revelation of the winner came an understanding of the burden that leader would carry. He saw the attacks that would come, the resistance that would intensify, and the spiritual warfare that would rage behind the scenes. But he also saw something else, a doorway, an opportunity. A chance for the nation to turn back toward foundational truths that had been abandoned. The winner wasn't just a political figure, they were an instrument in a divine symphony, playing a part written long before they ever entered the political stage. What comes after victory? Division didn't stop at election night, it continued forward, showing the aftermath, and this is where everything changes. He saw a period of intense turbulence. Not because of the election result, but because of the spiritual awakening it would trigger. People who had been asleep would suddenly wake up. Comfortable believers would be shaken from their complacency. The victory would expose hidden corruption, bring darkness into light, and force every person to make a choice about what they truly believe. These wasn't going to be easy. The winner's term wouldn't be smooth sailing, it would be a refining fire, burning away what was false and purifying what was true. The greater battle, here's what most people miss. The election is just a symptom, not the disease. What he witnessed in the vision was a cosmic battle between light and darkness, truth and deception, freedom and tyranny. The political arena is simply where this spiritual war becomes visible to human eyes. Holiday. He saw demonic principalities losing their grip on certain territories, and he saw them fighting back with unprecedented fury. He saw angels warring in heavenly places while people on earth went about their daily lives, completely unaware of the supernatural clash happening all around them. The election outcome would determine which side gained strategic ground in this ongoing conflict. The role of prayer, one of the most powerful aspects of the vision, was seeing the direct impact of prayer. He witnessed how the prayers of ordinary people, grandmothers in small towns, teenagers in their bedrooms, pastors in humble churches, created literal shifts in the spiritual atmosphere. These prayers weren't just comforting religious exercises. They were weapons of warfare, changing outcomes and binding dark forces. He saw how collective prayer during critical moments tipped scales that seemed permanently fixed. He understood that the election result was unpredetermined in a fatalistic way, was influenced by the prayers of those who refused to give up, who stood in the gap, who believed God still moves in response to human faith. The warning that came with it, but here's where the vision became sobering. Along with the revelation of victory came a stern warning. Winning the election was just the beginning, not the end. The real test would come afterward. Would the people of faith become complacent once their preferred candidate won? Would they think their job was done? Would they return to spiritual laziness while the enemy regrouped and counterattacked? He was shown that the victory could be squandered if God's people didn't remain vigilant, prayerful, and active. The election was opening a door, but walking through it and maintaining what lay beyond would require sustained spiritual intensity. The personal application. Then came the most unexpected part of the vision. It became personal. The message wasn't just about national destiny. It was about individual transformation. He was shown that every person watching these events unfold has a specific role to play. Not everyone is called to political action, but everyone is called to spiritual awakening. Some are called to pray, some to speak truth, some to serve quietly behind the scenes, some to stand boldly in public squares. The election outcome would create an environment where each person's assignment would become clearer, but they had to be willing to see it, accept it, and act on it. The timeline he saw the vision included a timeline that stretched beyond the immediate election. He saw waves of revelation, waves of resistance, waves of breakthrough. The first wave would come quickly after the election, exposing corruption that had been hidden for decades. The second wave would bring economic shaking, not as punishment, but as reorganization, removing foundations built on sand and establishing new ones on rock. The third wave would be spiritual revival. Starting small but growing exponentially, particularly among young people who had been written off by previous generations. Each wave would build on the previous one, creating momentum toward something unprecedented. Why this changes everything. So why does knowing the election outcome change everything? Because it's not about the outcome itself, it's about what the outcome reveals. It proves that we're not living in random chaos. There's a author writing this story, and he knows exactly how it ends. Zers demonstrates that prayer matters, that spiritual warfare is real, and that ordinary people can influence extraordinary events. It shows that even when circumstances look impossible, divine intervention can shift everything in a moment. Most importantly, it reveals that we're living in prophetically significant times, where every decision we make ripples into eternity. The call to action. Here's what this vision demands from us. We can't remain passive observers. We can't sit on the sidelines eating popcorn while history unfolds. Bet. Whether you agree with the election outcome or not, you're called to engage spiritually. Pray like you've never prayed before. Seek truth with relentless determination. Speak life and hope into your sphere of influence. Resist fear, reject despair, and refuse to be manipulated by either political extreme. Stand in the tension with grace and truth, knowing that God is sovereign over all human governments. This isn't about politics, it's about prophecy. It's about purpose. It's about positioning yourself on the right side of what God is doing in this hour. If this message resonated with you, I need you to do something right now. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts. Are you ready for what's coming? Do you sense the spiritual intensity of this moment? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what unfolds over the coming months will require us to stay connected, informed, and prayerful together. And smash that like button if you believe God is still in control, no matter what happens in politics. This is just the beginning, and you were born for such a time as this.